Welcome to Be Now for Tuesday, October the 4th. I'm Don McLeod, and as usual, joining me is Fazell Khan. Fazell, how you doing?
I'm good. Hi, Don. Sorry, my phone was ringing. Hopefully it's not disturbing you guys.
Yeah, oh, that's your phone
the other
ringing
phone's
again.
ringing.
Maybe it's a local candidate trying to get your vote.
I think it's a robocall. I've stopped answering my phone.
You and me are probably the last ones that have telephones at home rather than
I don't even know where that phone is, Don.
Hey, you don't even know where the phone is?
Yeah, never mind. Sorry.
All right.
Let's go. We got a show to run.
What are we talking about today?
Okay, so today, as you might have noticed on the promo, we're talking about election signs. We're talking about the Brampton Board of Trade mayoral debate. There were a lot of debates today, but I only had a chance to watch the mayoral one. And then we're talking about Riverstone Community Centre, and you got a video you were going to watch, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's get our graphic up.
Signs everywhere, signs. Remember that song?
Yes.
Okay.
No, here we go.
So we got a whole bunch of signs out here, but we have a whole bunch of people that have no concept or they just ignore the rules of what the signage laws are. I know that.
Well, can I just clarify though, Don? I am not picking on this candidate. It's just he's done a tremendous job of getting his signs out across the city.
Right.
That's the only reason, because every other candidate seems to be making the same mistake, but not to the extent that Bob Singh is.
Absolutely, 100%. Bobby, I've seen his signs out all over the place, and most of them, I'd say probably 90% of them are illegal signs. So I know the candidates, they had basically an orientation was given by the city. And I think part of that was where you can put the signs and where you can't put the signs. A lot of candidates seem to ignore that. Let's go over. They are not allowed to post on city property. No sign 6 feet from the road. So basically, as you saw Bobby there, is like where the sidewalk is and where the grass starts, 6 feet from the grass part. You can't put signs on. That's city property. Anywhere there's a city building or like could be anything.
Well, basically. An intersection is city property.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where all of his signs are, at intersections.
Oh, absolutely, because everyone wants to put their signs there because they get the most exposure. Maximum size in Brampton is 2 square meters per sign. I think in Mississauga it's different. It's 1.5, so they're a little bit smaller. Private property with consent of owner. That includes whether it's on a residential or a commercial. So you just can't plop it on the commercial. Some candidates, what they're doing is when homeowners put the sign up, they get them to sign off an agreement saying, yes, my sign is allowed to be on your property. It's a good thing to do. It covers it's a CAA, cover your ass sort of thing.
CYA.
Yeah, exactly. CYA. 2 signs per candidate for residential property and 3 signs on private property per candidate. That's per candidate.
No, I think it's 3 signs total.
Right.
On a property.
Right.
So you can have 2 of one and 1 of another, or 1 of 3, or 1 of 3 different candidates, like your councillor, your mayor, your trustee, for example.
Or 2 signs per candidate for residential, right? So, where you see the malls and stuff like that, you'll see, 2 signs for, whatever.
Sorry, I thought it was 3 signs for residential. See, I don't even know. Not that I have any signs on my property yet.
You don't have any signs? Let me just.
No, I'm like on an inside street. I'm not very, exposed.
It says 2 signs per advertised for a residential property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's a lot of people breaking that because there's, anyways. You should. We'll have to check that out, Don. I'm not sure.
It says it. I'm reading it right here from the thing.
Here's how I interpret that: 2 signs for the same candidate, but you can have another sign for another candidate. So, like if you're at a corner, you can have the same candidate on 2 sides.
Yeah, 2 sides per candidate or a third-party advertiser for a residential property. 3 signs per candidate or a third-party advertiser for a private property other than residential.
So you can have an unlimited number of signs. Is that what this is saying?
Per candidate, yes, it's per candidate and so on and
so forth. No, per property. So I can have 2 for my councillor, 2 for my mayor, 2 for my trustee, 2 for, I probably missed somebody in there. Yeah. So that's like 8 signs I can have on my property.
Yeah, 3 signs per candidate or party.
Where did you get this information from?
It comes from the municipal sign bylaw requirements.
We have a question. Darshan is surprised that there's actually rules because it seems like it's a free for all out there.
No, there's rules across every municipality. They're across Ontario, so every municipality, like Ajax has different, Hamilton is different, Kingston, Brampton, Toronto, everyone has different rules for election signs, right? It's when you can post them as well. I know that I was up in Georgetown a couple of weeks ago. They had signs all over the place.
Okay, so you had another slide here. Let's go to that one here too. There's some other rules.
Yeah, there's no booking city facility for election purposes. So if I'm running, like say 7-8, I can't book a city facility to have any kind of fundraising, right? And candidates may accept invite to address a group that has booked a city facility, but they can't campaign during that time, which is kind of weird to me because I could book it and say, you know, I'm asking the mayor to come to my thing that I booked there, but he can't campaign. So we can talk about something and thank you, but you can't campaign, which is in my mind, it's campaigning anyway,
yeah,
right?
Just showing up is campaigning, right?
Yeah, basically. So it's kind of, I don't know. You should, you know, either you have, you know, I don't understand why you can't book a city facility for something. If it's there, the residents paid for it, and I'm running, I should be able to book it for whatever I want. I don't understand the logic behind that.
Yeah. But Bob Singh seems to have a lot of signs. Like
Bob's got a lot of signs up. The day after the signs were allowed to go up, I'm driving and there's signs all over every corner. They're all illegal, but at some point in time, they've been taken down as well, and you can get fined for that. The city takes pictures, the bylaw takes pictures, and they go all over the place. And, you know, we're not picking on Bob. Bob's running for mayor, but Bob's team there, they got to read the rules of where they're going to put the signs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me and Anthony Baker finally agree.
And the other thing too is the signs can't impede, like you can't put it in front of a stop sign or, you know, where the traffic or something in front of like that's blocking the view of traffic and all that other kind of stuff, right? So you just can't plonk them anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Are we going to talk about the actual material on the signs?
Well, it can't be reflective, and you know, there's a whole bunch of things in regards to the signs.
It can be reflective. I don't have the sign, but you know,
well, you can't put a light. You can't put a light on the sign and have it reflected. You know what I mean?
No, like, but you can put reflective tape on a sign.
Yeah, you can't have it illuminated. Yeah, you can't have it illuminated. That's what the rule says, right?
Yeah, but you can have it reflected.
I'm not sure about that because there's, you know, like I'm not sure. The thing is, there's a whole bunch of rules, but at this point in time, because signs change and you get all sorts of different things, what if you had a phosphorescent sign? Would that, you know what I mean? Like,
but you were telling me you actually called bylaw, Don.
I called bylaw, and the funny thing is, I wanted to get where you're allowed to, what is considered city property. Now I asked I dialed 311. I said, "What's city property? Just tell me." So that I was on hold for 25 minutes, and the guy was trying to get like a definitive answer for me. It took 25 minutes for him to come back and say 6 feet from the curb. So if from the road to the curb, it's 6 feet. But if there's a sidewalk in between, it's 6 feet from the sidewalk as well. So it's like, it took 25 minutes. I said to the guy, I said, this should be an automatic on bylaw because it's election time. People want to post. If I'm a candidate, I don't want to get my signs taken away because they're illegally posted. It should be somewhere on the city website for election, say signs, this is what is allowed and this is what city property is, right?
Well,
Bob is the worst offender. Okay.
I'll disagree on if we're going with accuracy of content, I'll have to disagree with Anthony there.
Yeah, well, I do got to agree with Anthony, though. I've seen Bob signs. They're all illegal all over the place, right?
Yeah, candidates were given 4 minutes to talk, but I wonder if they had to sign anything. Because
yeah, but the thing is, not all candidates went to that presser, right? So if you didn't go to that presser, and I don't know if there's I can't remember because the last time I was there in 2014, but there's a presser kit. If that presser kit was in there where election signs can go, but you know, if I call bylaw and it took 25 minutes for them to give me an answer on what is considered city property. there needs to be a better clarification because, if I'm a candidate, I want to make sure, right? I don't want to have my signs taken away.
I from past elections, here's what happens is instead of charging you for, like Aaron says, it's $25 for each sign. In the past, and you can tell me better than probably I know, is they wouldn't charge you $25 per sign. They'd say, okay, you had 200 infractions. How about $500? Right?
Yeah, what happens is the city bylaw, they take a picture of where it is, right? Sometimes they tell you have a sign illegally up on reported 28 for Bob. Well, Anthony's doing his due diligence out there. That's pretty
I want to
good.
know where that money goes because maybe they should get some part-time students. They
It
can hire a
goes
lot of
back in the
part-time
city
students to do
coffers,
this.
actually, because you go to court and basically this bylaw takes a picture of it. They go to court. You get a summons saying you have to go to court, and the lawyer will come up and say, you had, as you said, like 26 or 28 or 50 violations on public posting on public property at $25 a sign. It's $1,000. You can plead guilty and say, I don't have that much money, and okay, we'll knock it to $500 and 2 years to pay. I mean, it's a plea bargaining system, right?
Yeah. Hang on.
It just depends if you got enough money. If you're willing to pay the fine and you don't care, like apparently Bob does, he must have a lot of money in the kitty there.
I spent a lot of time on this graphic. I hope everybody appreciates it.
Yes, signs everywhere, signs. So anyway, if you're a candidate,
there's a lot. There's a lot going on that title there, Don. A lot.
Yeah, pretty well.
There's at least 3 things you can spot in that title. Okay.
Yes.
Should we move on, Don?
We shall move on because yes, we can see your spelling mistakes. So let's move on. On to the next one.
The Brampton Board of Trade debate.
So you watched that today. I didn't because basically I'm out there doing.
We normally do at least one debate, and we didn't this year. We did the mayoral debate last year at the Rose Theater just because we thought it was highly competitive with Linda Jeffrey and Patrick Brown. And it was a great event. This time around, to be honest, I'll be honest, Don, and we'll probably get criticized here. It's not that competitive.
Well, number one, the thing is we got to remember that we put that on. It's our own dime and our own time that we did it. We don't get we don't take ads here. We don't get funding. It's our own money and stuff and time and effort that we put into it. So we're not like the Brampton Board of Trade where members get charged. I think it's $400 or $500 a year. Some of that money goes towards whatever they want to do, and they have a kitty for that. To me, it's a low end budget for something like that. There are other groups that do stuff, but they're not really debates. What we want is a debate. We didn't do one this year, but that's fine. So you watch a Brampton Board of Trade debate. Tell me a little bit about what went on.
Can you hear my phone still ringing?
I can hear it, yeah.
Sorry about that. So, yeah, I don't have time to watch all of the debates. Maybe I'll look at some of the other ones. But they do all the races. So all the mayor and the city and the regional council races, I don't think they do trustees. It's good to look at if you have time. Most people don't watch it, right? Because they have like a few hundred views at most by the time the election comes around.
Well, it's during the weekday when people are working, so it's like
like afterwards you can go watch it. Like I encourage everybody to watch the mayoral debate. Don't take my word for it, but here's my professional assessment, Don. And I'm biased, obviously. I think the mayor's been doing a really good job, but that is not why I made him number one. But you watch it yourself. This is if you look at the fine print analysis by me, not a member nor affiliated with the Brampton Board of Trade. I thought Vidya came in second, and I like Vidya. I was at a park renaming recently. He came up to me and shook my hand and stuff. He's a nice.
No, I know Vidya. He's been doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's walking around the city. He's actually got some plans and he's got some lucid ideas. How many of the mayoral candidates were there? Just these 3?
Just these 3. I forget how many there are in total. Maybe 6. The other 3 didn't respond to the Board of Trade, which at least respond saying you can't come. But this is your only opportunity if the incumbent shows up to attack the incumbent.
Yeah.
Not attack. That's what happened in this.
No, it's not attack. It's basically put your policies forward. I mean, and that's what we did last year because we figured that it was going to be a debate with
ideas, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was Linda Jeffrey, Patrick Brown. There was John Spalveri who was running at the time. He's a longtime councillor. There was who was the other one? Gil, who was a minister before under the PC government. So
we forget his name.
Yeah, so we tried to put it together.
So
This
we had
time,
Wes Jackson, didn't we?
right?
We had Wesley Jackson on too in that debate.
Yeah, the whiner. So Patrick Brown, Vidya, I see that, yeah, he's been out there in the community doing what he's supposed to be doing. Nikki Carr, I have no idea. If she's reading from a script, you know.
Well, that's why I used that
tells me a
picture
lot.
because 90% of the time when they had the camera on her, she's reading from a piece of paper, and the mayor specifically called that out at the very beginning, saying, you know, he prefers to speak from the heart. And then Nikki responded saying, I actually prepared. Or actually, she said, we prepared. She kept using the term we. And I was one of the only people commenting on the live stream. So you can go watch the live stream. You'll see my comments.
Yeah, well,
And
we know who the we is. It's like
the other two people behind her campaign are outside of Brampton. They're political bigwigs. So Nick Kuvalis and Marcel Weeder. Nick is a conservative bigwig, and Marcel, I think, is a liberal. I could be wrong. I think he supported Linda Jeffrey in the last election.
He supported Linda Jeffrey last time.
Well, they're both teaming up. And, you know, I don't know much about Nikki. This is one of the first times I've heard her speak. I was not impressed. I don't necessarily blame her, but I blame her prepping, right? If you have these two guys and this is the prep you gave her, tell her to read from a script, that tells me a lot, right? So, she was throwing a lot of mud. Every opportunity, she was throwing mud.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Faz. If you're going to run for mayor, you got to have a brain of your own, right? If you're going to read from a script and somebody's going to give you, that's not the kind of person that you want in the mayoral chair, unless it's basically a puppet, right? So do you want a puppet as mayor of Brampton, someone who's reading from a script and taking advice from two people that are outside Toronto? I don't think so. Do we want a mayor that's going to stand on his own merit? Vidya, at least he's got some ideas. He's got some stuff going forward. He doesn't need a script because he's put together his platform and knows what he's talking about. If you're reading a script on a regular basis and you need someone to put your ideas down on a piece of paper, you haven't got an idea. I'm sorry.
Right? And I was brutally honest with you when I was talking to you about this, Don. I don't think she's qualified to be a school trustee. And that's not saying anything about school trustees, right? It's just a part-time job. And, you know, we get who we get. And I think there's some really good school trustees. Some of them, I know in Mississauga, one that I like is running for a counselor over there, and I think she'd do a great job. Nikki, you know, some of the answers she gave to questions too, something about, you know, one of the first things she's going to do on the job is fire a whole bunch of Patrick Brown people or something like that and save the city $30 million. Like, what kind of statement is that? And how does it add up to $30 million? You think you got to fire like how many thousands of people to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, it's, you know, if you're going to put stupid ideas on the table and if you talk about stupid things and you want to throw something out there, you know, there's no policy statement. Like it's totally an irrelevant statement and it's a stupid statement.
I'm thinking the paper said 3 million and she came out with 30 million. That's what I'm thinking. That's what happens when you read from a script. And you and I know, Don, because we work with a lot of people on being in front of the camera and all that. She was not prepped well. You should be looking into the camera. Like, you know, video is not.
Wait a second, Faz. Are these the same experts that you know? Nick said this. He's a bigwig expert, and Marcel Weeder is a bigwig expert on you know all these campaigns, and these guys get all sorts of money, strategies, and everything else. And this is the best they can come up with.
That's the best. Anyways. Enough with that, right? You can go watch the video yourself.
Yes, that's fine. Make your own decision, but at the same time, if you're not ready and if you're not willing to put forward something, you know, and be able to talk intelligently about it on a regular basis when you're running for mayor, I'm sorry, you're unqualified. Okay,
let's move on to the Riverstone Community Centre. As you know, that was a big controversy 4 years ago.
That was a big controversy. 2007, they bought it. Gail Miles, basically, Giampaolo Investments owned that property. It was Riverstone Golf and Country Club. They owned Bondhead before that. Giampaolo Investments, basically, they wanted to get rid of it. They were putting it on the market, and Gail Miles, who was a counselor at the time, was all for to buy it, turn it into a seniors residence or a seniors community center. I know Pat Fortini, who's the other counselor at the time. He was a regional counselor, Ward 7 and 8. Gail Miles was the city councilor, Ward 7 and 8. He was vehemently opposed to that Riverstone purchase because several things. The clubhouse was run down. They would have had to buy the golf course, which was basically it falls under the Toronto Conservation Area. And if you wanted to do anything to that, it would cost a lot of money to renovate, take out the old cart paths and everything else to go with it. So anyway, there's a whole big thing about that. We did an interview with Pat 2017 on Brampton Focus. You can go back and watch it.
Nobody's going to do that, Don.
Well, they could if they wanted to. So anyway, yesterday was the official grand opening of the community center. So let's take a look at the video I shot. I'll be putting together a bigger video in regards to it, but this is just some of the footage that I got.
Here we go.
So this is the newly renovated Riverstone Community Centre, 195 Don Miniker Drive. That's just around up by McVean and Queen. 34,000 square foot renovation went into this. They bought it in 2017. Quite a bit of renovations as well. You have seniors room. You have a couple of community rooms. There's 2 large ones. You have 3 squash courts, totally newly renovated squash courts. A fitness room, workout room. There's a lot of, that's about half the size of it showing right now. And you also have a saltwater pool with a wheelchair access. So it's pretty cool. They've actually done quite a bit of work on this location so far. So that looks pretty cool.
It looks relatively small too. Like, you know, I'm accustomed to these ginormous community centers that are quite intimidating to go into.
Well, don't forget, it was a golf club before, sort of thing, right? So there was a membership involved in that. So I mean, it's not super huge, but they have 2 floors. On the lower floor, basically, is the squash courts, the change rooms. There's on the upper part. There's like I said before, there's a 1 large meeting room. There's a seniors room as well. There's a daycare room, a small daycare room that you can rent out for kids, and so on and so forth. There's 2 big rooms in the back. I have footage of that as well.
But, you know, relatively speaking, though, it's still like to me, it looks like the pool, for example, looked like a decent size. It's saltwater, too. I don't know if you mentioned that. I like the idea of smaller community centers rather than these big things that, you got to drive to.
Yeah, I mean, it's cozy inside. I mean, there was people coming and going, sort of thing. I asked one of the people about the squash courts, how busy they were. She said normally they're pretty busy, which is good. I mean, 3 squash courts.
I'm a squash player. I just haven't played in like so long because there's just no facilities around.
Yeah, I mean, I used to play at the Bloor Park Club, but that's probably why my knees are shot.
Can you play squash with new knees?
I don't know. Probably find out. But the Bloor Park Club, there was a world champion there that used to play all the time. His last name was
Khan.
Exactly, from Pakistan. I think he was like 10 times world squash champion. And every time he'd play, I'd play with him once in a while. He would stand on the tee and I'd be running around the entire court because he didn't move from the tee. He could place that ball anywhere. And that was with a yellow dot.
When I was into my early 20s, I played against a guy. He was in his 80s and he did the same thing to me. Yeah, I was just starting to learn squash then, but the guy's in his 80s and he's not moving and I'm running all around him.
That's where you tell who a good squash player is and who isn't. Whoever occupies that tee, man, like you're dropping balls. There's another, Karen Dancy commented, yes, Fortini was there. Yes, he was there at the opening. So,
Pat, Karen, were you there at the opening?
No, I wasn't. I couldn't. I was there the day of the opening, getting the footage.
Karen, if she can get back.
Karen. No, I don't think she was at the opening, but it's a community center up in that area. It's something that basically it's actually nice in there. They've done a good job of renovating. I don't know how much the cost the city. I'm sure we could actually find that out, but I'm sure it was millions, right?
Okay, all right, Don. I've got to go outside to do some yard work before the sun goes down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's some.
Are you doing your leaf blower? You taking the leaf blower and?
By the way, I can't remember what city it is. I tweeted it. I think it might be Vancouver. They are banning gas-powered leaf blowers. That's my goal for the next 4 years with whoever gets voted in is we're going to ban gas-powered leaf blowers in Brampton.
And that's going to solve a lot of crime and everything else. Is that,
It's going to give me some peace and quiet in my backyard.
Well, if that's your biggest thing,
That's the biggest thing. There's nothing bigger than that.
nothing bigger than that. There's crime running rampant. There's this, there's that. You know, no robocalls here. Okay, well,
Nobody wants you to vote for them, Susan.
yeah.
Maybe,
Maybe Susan, you're in an area that's basically it's like
Susan, put your phone number on the live stream here. I'll post it. That way all the campaigns can get it.
Bermuda Triangle. How many? It'd be interesting to find out how many people actually have candidates knocking on the door and actually coming to the door. From because what I've heard is there's
hang on. Ollie says yes. I'm going to assume to the banning of leaf blowers. I'm assuming that's what she'd say yes to.
Probably, yeah, probably. Forget the cars running up and down. Hot air for the leaves. Well, that's an idea too, as well, right? It's funny because I got a thing in the mail, basically from a candidate that's running. Regional councillor is running in my ward, and he's talking about what he's done. Right, he's done this, and it's like I'm surprised. I was waiting for him to actually say that he cured cancer, discovered the Holy Grail. There was nothing negative into it about all the negative stuff. It was like there you go. There's
masses are speaking. Look at that. Look at how the outrage it's coming here, Don.
Who thought that gas leaf blowers was such a huge election issue? If you're a candidate out there and you're going to the door, say that's what you're going to do, and probably you'll get their votes.
If it doesn't happen, mark my words, somebody archived this in the internet. If it doesn't happen in the next 4 years, I'm running for mayor, and that's going to be my campaign pledge.
You never know. You might get elected just because of that.
Okay, Don.
All right, Faz, you're off to do some leaf work. Yes. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Well, one more comment. I know we always get comments coming in. Let's see here. When you work from home, 100%. 100%. And on Sunday mornings, like it's ridiculous.
Well, Sunday morning, you're not allowed to do anything before 12 o'clock. So if
it's 8 o'clock. I know. I checked.
Oh, yeah? 8 o'clock on Sunday?
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but it doesn't matter. It's in the middle of the day now. It's like, even if you're just having like dinner or something in your backyard, like that's the last thing you want to hear, right?
What kind of neighbors you got?
It's the company, and they go to a bunch of houses around me, so you're like for hours.
I live in a civilized. I live in a civilized concave, and people are actually civil. So,
and you got bigger trees in your neighborhood. Like they're blowing grass. It's not even leaves they're blowing. They're blowing grass.
All right. Well, listen, you can make that your number one priority. We'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks for joining us.